So Greg, I mean, I'm not sure if I need to tell you this, but some of your shirts are kind of crappy. I mean, you know,
What do you mean by crappy? They got a sweet little pocket right here.
I mean they
That's
could be better. I mean, there's a place I know where it has lots of cool stuff. Uh,
yeah, but how cool?
we're talking about AAA cool. We're talking about shirts from 86.com. They're a pretty cool site. They sell all types of merchandise, including t-shirts, keychains, and other cool stuff that they sell on their site. And also have awesome video game material as well, such as Street Fighter, Killer Instinct, Guilty Gear, Skullgirls, BlazBlue, Smite, and 86's own brand of t-shirts as well as other stuff. Recently they put out some new keychains for Street Fighter 5. So yeah, there's some awesome stuff there. So I'm just suggesting, next time you go out and buy a shirt of any kind, I suggest check out 86.com. And if you want to support us and them at the same time, please use this link in your web browser to check out 86.com. Put in www.86.com !AFF equals 4. Again, www.86.com !AFF equals 4. This link will tell them that we sent you and that we're cool with them as long as you're cool with us. Thank you and enjoy the show. There we go. Okay. Hey guys, just 1 second here as you see me on screen. There we go. Yes. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah, we're back,
Since
guys.
something.
Post E3, we're back. We got some things. There isn't a lot to talk about this week, honestly. I'm trying to find some news to talk about, and there is very little. All the news happened was at E3, so
Yeah.
but bear with us for tonight. But with that, I'd like to introduce the one man who always seems to find his way into the podcast one way or another, but none other than Greg Dietz.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think if Mario were to possess somebody and then make them, like, I don't know, just jump off a ledge, like, is that manslaughter? Or, like, what if Mario possessed a human man and then, like, had sex with a woman, and then the man became himself again, and, like, would that man have cheated? There are these
No.
questions that I have about Mario Odyssey.
There's a lot of questions about that game, honestly. I
Moral
think,
dilemmas.
yeah, I think I saw a picture on Twitter recently today too, where Mario possessed Peach, and then he was like, "I'm Peach," and then he grabbed himself, and then like got out, and then Peach hit him, and then he turned to Small Mario, and
Nintendo knows what they're doing.
then Peach was like, "Oh, he's cute again." But yeah, welcome to the show, guys. I hope all you guys listening on the audio version enjoy that. So let's get to what news is happening in the past week, as we always do. So first off, I'm going to start off with a game that was announced on Kickstarter, but was actually failed, and relatively badly too. The game is Rap Rabbit. This was off of their Kickstarter. This is a post they made after the failure of the Kickstarter. What comes next? The future of Project Rap Rabbit. When we first started on the Project Rap Rabbit, we knew we were beginning a long and ambitious journey to redefine one of the most creative gaming genres of all. We also understood that our plans weren't small. That original branching songs with lyrics and shaped by the players, multiplayer rap battles, and multi-platform support would neither cheap nor easy develop to the standard that we demanded. We always considered ourselves fortunate to have some of the greatest gaming fans and communities on our side, but over the past month we've been more humbled than ever by your support. We receive hundreds of messages, scores of fan art submissions, and more social media love and well wishes that we can possibly keep on top of during our Project Rap Rabbit campaign. To each and every person who has helped and followed our journey, we thank you. Goes on to say that they're very happy, they were very appreciative of everybody who supported the campaign. But as far as like the game itself, they're still trying to figure it out as far as like if they can still make it happen. So this campaign was it didn't raise the amount they wanted. They wanted, I believe, 1 million for the game. They only got like 200,000 around that number.
That's really bad.
Yeah, and they didn't succeed. On top of that, though, with their campaign,
I think I know why they didn't succeed, though. If I may interject.
Yeah, go for it.
I only heard about this game through word of mouth. I didn't see any big things about it. I saw like, honestly, the guy that runs Half Empty Brian, he brought it up to me because he's a big fan of Guitar Man. And then you talked about it on here. Like, that was it. I didn't see any like advertising for it. I didn't see any big things for it on YouTube or Twitch or Twitter or anything like that. It was like seriously just word of mouth. Now I don't know if they had an ad campaign going for it or anything like that, but that sounds like to me why it failed.
Yeah, there was multiple reasons. I didn't hear anything like social media wise from much of the game other than the fact that it exists. And also on top of that, with the Kickstarter, from what I've heard, is that they didn't show anything of the game until very late into its Kickstarter. So it was like a test demo or like a proof of concept as far as like what could be the game. But they weren't very. It seemed to me like the Kickstarter for them they were very new to it, so they didn't list any tiers or much detail about the game other than the fact that we would like to make it. Can you support us? So the Kickstarter was handled not as well as they hoped. People, I mean, and people, and I don't blame people at the same time, as far as like how many people have been burned because of Kickstarter failing or succeeding, but then using that money to produce a product that they may not like, or running off with the actual money and forgoing the whole Kickstarter thing. So
I think also people need to. This goes back to a conversation we've had 1,000 times, and people need just to be a little bit more cautious about how they spend their money. And if I go into a Kickstarter, it's definitely going to be because I trust the developers, and in this case, I feel like the developers were trustworthy.
They were, but like at the same time, they weren't doing the things that you would normally do for a Kickstarter that would.
Oh, I see that. Yeah.
That would persuade people who may not have heard of you, and it can happen. So
yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame.
It's a shame. Yeah.
I hope that they can bounce back from this and make something.
Yeah. We're doing good. Saba Ner.
That is it's in Saba Ner, which is Apocalypse from X-Men. But
gotcha.
That's why I call him Josh.
Okay, gotcha. I wanted to respond, but like I'm trying to pronounce the name. It's like I don't know how to pronounce this.
We're doing good.
Yeah, I will say though that if they want this game created, I think that there's going to be some company out there that will fund it. I believe that would happen.
I hope so. Yeah.
So
like I don't know, Microsoft or Sony pops in and just like, here's a budget, here you go.
Yeah. I think out of those two, like Sony probably is going to be the one that would take more risks.
Sony should, considering Parappa and Guitar Man are on a PlayStation, our PlayStation games.
They are. That's true. It's true, but we'll see. I mean, they're already taking a chance on Shenmue, and we haven't heard that game in a while, so. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
Everyone thought Shenmue 3 was going to get talked about, and I was like, no, it's not, because it's not even remotely close to having any kind of gameplay shown. So, I was right again.
So moving on to our next story. So this actually was announced during, I think last weekend, I believe. This was during a fighting game tournament called CEO. Fighting game tournament out in Florida. Let me get the B-roll here. From that weekend, what was announced was that Killer Instinct is coming to Steam. And this game has been on the Microsoft platform for a very long time. It's been on Xbox One. It's been on the Windows 10 store, which is free. And now it's finally making its way to Steam. And I wouldn't say it's a long time coming, but it's an interesting transition as far as like, I wonder if they had the blessings of Microsoft to do this, because they were a Microsoft exclusive for a very long time until they made the jump, and they finally did. I think this will bode well for them as far as like when it goes to Steam, because if you think about it, people who play PC, people who play fighting games, specifically if there's a game that is only on one console or exclusive to one platform, not a lot of other people can have the chance to play because they have to have that console or whatnot. At least with this now expands to a lot of people who has PCs or Macs or whatever on Steam. So.
Well, I think that argument, I don't know, I don't like that argument very much, just because, if we're talking about, like, let's talk about something like EVO, something that's bigger than CEO. There are games there that are limited to one system.
It's true.
Smash Brothers is the first one that comes to mind. So to me, I think that's like having the idea that, oh, this is really good because they've expanded their potential fan base. Like, whatever. I don't think that factors into why it's a good idea that it's there.
But the other thing too is, like, we kind of has conversation prior. Is like, the exclusives, they're still around, but they're not as important as they used to be. Yeah, I know, they shouldn't be, but it's not as important as they used to be.
I'm gonna move my camera up just a tad bit. I hate when I see cameras and the top of the head's cut off, and I'm like,
right. Gotcha. You need to get a better camera.
On a different note, my folks were watching America's Funniest Home Videos, and all of a sudden they just have a lot of videos where it's just square and the sides are like this weird like design. I'm like, why is it like that? And then it dawns on me, because people don't know how to turn their phone horizontal.
Yeah.
Record.
Hard. But yeah, like, we had this conversation prior, like, exclusives are still a thing, and you're right, it shouldn't be anymore, but you got to find a way to push your consoles. So, like, having the only fighting game on exclusively that was on Xbox One, Microsoft's platform, going to Steam, I guess they got their blessings, or the fact that Microsoft got the most what they needed out of it. Maybe the sales weren't as high recently as I thought. But they're still being supported by Microsoft, which is still pretty cool to see. But yeah, it's coming to Steam. It's cool. I'm interested to see how that goes. I have it. It's fun. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's good that they're on different consoles and whatnot. But yeah, I just wanted to add in that I don't think that.
Yeah, I hear it. Moving on to our next story, which actually is happening right now. Give me a second here as I hang on a second. There it goes. Okay. So happening right now is the summer Steam sales, the annual apocalypse of Gabe Newell taking your money on Steam, and it's
sorry to interrupt. You retweeted something that was brilliant.
I did? Which was?
Oh yeah.
What?
Don't buy the summer Steam games. Don't spend your money on games you're not going to play.
I saw that. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so for those who don't know, there was a picture going around that I retweeted of, like, it was basically a comic of, like, don't buy games that you're not going to play. And it's very true for a lot of people who have, like, PCs, especially me, because I can tell you right now, I have a crap ton of games. Like, I just started playing Broforce today, finally. I bought that on Summer Steam sale a long time ago. But yeah, it's happening right now, and I think that, I heed to that warning. But with that being said, it is happening right now, and I bought a few games actually.
I think like PlayStation. Sorry, Xbox does a really cool thing where they're not bundles. Like that's where the problem I find is the bundles. I like there's a ton of games on sale right now on the Xbox, like a slew of them that are like under $5, no joke. And so I just sat there and went through all of them, and I was like, "Ooh, what is this about?" And I'd watch some gameplay, watch a trailer, be like, "Nah, I don't, whatever, not gonna play it."
Mm-hmm.
And I only bought like 2 games for like less than $5 total, and I know that I'm gonna play them because, well, I like to stream, so that's gonna happen.
Right.
I think it's just it's interesting to me that when's the other sale? It's around the Christmas time.
Yeah, that's the like during fall. So I know there's one happening in the summer right now, and then there's one like near winter, like around November time, as far as like the winter sales for Steam. So yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's what I thought. I don't know. I like the idea of like don't spend money that you're not going to use. Period. Like I've seen it happen 1,000 times where people are like, I bought $200 worth of games on Steam, and it's like a total of 60 games. It's like, why?
Because you can play them later. I mean, I don't know. Like for a streamer, like it's good to have all those games in hand so that you can.
But not everybody's a streamer.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like as a streamer, yes, but like as anybody else, like it's like, well, I guess it's good if I'm playing in the future or if you're bored, but like yeah, you don't spend on the games you're not gonna play like in 5 years like I did.
I don't think, like, to me it's not worth the time or the effort or the money because we have so many games that come out all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
That it's hard to sit there and go like, well, I'll play these later. No, you won't. Most people don't ever get to those games. I've talked to people who bought like store copies of games that are still wrapped up because they never got around to it. It's like, for the love of God, if you buy a game, make sure you're gonna play it. Yeah, I think that, like, to me, it's just a waste of money. It's like going to the theater and going, hey, I want to buy a card that allows me to, like, I want to spend $200 on a card, and it expires within a year, but I'm only going to see one movie a year with it.
Right. I hear you. I mean, I think it's smart not to. I mean, in general, like, buy what you're gonna play, and if not, you know. Yeah, and like, the funny thing is,
I do have a question. I have a question for you about the Steam sale because I don't use Steam enough to know.
Okay.
Is it individual games have a discount, or are they just in bundles?
It's both. So individual games will have discount sales, but also like. They will have bundles on franchises. So for instance, like the whole Fallout franchise, like each game is discounted at a 50% off. And they're all there. You can check it out. Be publicized on the front page, or for individual games, like they can go as low as like 80% off on this game, and you can buy it for like $3. So it's both.
In that regard, I would just go like, well, I'll just buy the newest one, and I'll spend $20 on it instead of the 60 that it cost when it came out, and then go like look at other games and go, do I want to play these? I don't know, man. It's just so bizarre to me that that's a thing that people do. Like, I'm just gonna download a ton of these games and most likely never get to it.
Yeah.
These sales are exactly why Steam is succeeding.
Yeah.
And so Steam's never going to stop, but I think people need to be smarter consumers.
Yeah. I mean, like, you're right, but at the same time, like, I don't think your average gamer is not as smart as you may think. I mean, just going back, like, remember story time. Back in the day, when Guitar Hero came out, I forgot his name, but he was the CEO. I think he still is the CEO of Activision, and he basically said like, gamers are dumb, don't buy anything. And he put out Guitar Hero, or helped put out Guitar Hero, and with the instrument, with the Rock Band, or with the Guitar Hero.
I think I remember this.
Yeah. And like, lo and behold, they proved his point, and to go on to then buy like a bunch of other useless plastic instruments as well.
He says gamers are stupid, but I'm just gonna throw it out there. Consumers are stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like, and that's not an absolute by any measure. It's not every consumer, obviously.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people personally that are really smart consumers. I just think that there's also a lot of people out there that have more money than sense.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, it's easy. Like when I was working for the VA and I had tons of money, so it's like, oh, I'm gonna sit here and when let's see, the winter, fall, or it was during the winter Steam sales, and I was at my cousin's place and I was looking up what was on sale. I was like, oh, I'll take 3-4 of those, sure. And I haven't played them since then. Yeah.
My thing is that I agree with you, Jason. I buy dumb shit all the time too.
Yeah.
I think the important thing about what is the dumb shit you buy? Like, what's the qualifier there? Because, I just bought something that you'll see later that one could consider dumb shit. It's not necessary. I didn't have to buy it, but I bought it because I wanted it. And I guarantee you I'm going to probably buy similar things in regards to My Hero Academia because I'm adoring that show so much.
Yeah.
You look at my room, I have dumb shit all over the place, but it's dumb shit that I wanted. I get use out of it because it sits on my shelf and I enjoy it. If I buy a movie, I'm gonna watch it. If I buy an album, I'm gonna listen to it. It's bizarre to me that people would buy entertainment and just never use it. Like even people who like, oh, I keep this toy in the box, for reasons to sell it later or some shit. Okay, still getting some use out of it. Yeah. But when you buy a digital game and never play it, I don't. It's just wiping your ass with money at that point.
Pretty much, pretty much, yeah. I mean,
I got opinions, guys. I got opinions.
We have things to say, pretty much.
That's a whole other conversation, Josh. I'm not getting into because I completely agree with you.
For those listening,
I will rip open a box before I just set it on the shelf. Oh, look at my cool thing! It's in this fucking case. Anyway.
For those listening to the podcast, in the chat, the statement was saying that toys are meant to be opened.
Yeah, sorry, I should be more attentive to the listeners. Sorry, guys.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's just I love this. I love the Steam summer sales. I love the summer sales on all the consoles. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
I think when you do that with digital games, when you do that with indie games, it's really really good. Mm-hmm. The problem is people, come on, like, don't buy everything. Like, be a bit more cautious with your money. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
I bought a game called Saturday Morning RPG, and I plan on playing.
I've heard of that game actually.
It looks pretty fun. I plan on playing it on stream. But I couldn't get behind just like I had the money. I had $30 to blow, and I could have bought like 20 games because everything was under like $2. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I didn't because I knew that like I'm gonna want Sonic Mania when it comes out brand spanking new.
Yes. Oh god. So, I cannot wait for that.
It's just things like that I think about. Like I want. Next week, I don't know what indie games are coming to the Xbox because the Xbox has a really bad thing with dates and stuff. But there could be an awesome, like, tomorrow Owlboy could come out, and I wouldn't have the money for it because I spent $30 on games I'm never going to play.
Yeah.
That's my point. That's the point I wanted to get at. And we're trying to fill time because we're fluffing up an episode that didn't have a whole lot of news this week.
Yep. What I will say, though, if you do want to spend some money and feel good, there's a thing happening next week. They're actually streaming right now. The last year's Summer Games Done Quick is happening next weekend. So if you guys want to spend some money on anything outside of games, you can spend money on that for charity.
There you
go. And incentives, whatever they have for this year's speedrunners. Yeah. So
you shouldn't have said that because now I'm mad at people for spending money on games they're never going to play.
I know, and then ironically they're playing the games on. During the speed running that week, they may or may not play. But yeah, Steam Summer Steam Games. Moving on to our next story, and this concerns an interesting point from Sony actually. Hang on a second. Okay, So, do I have anything for this? Yes, I do. Alright, cool. So this was reported by Forbes.com and written by Ollie Barter. Sony thinks that a resurgent Nintendo is good for gaming, and they are right. In an interview with Jim Ryan, the global marketing and sales head of Sony, he talks about a resurgent Nintendo is good for the industry, and that is entirely correct. Now, you need to understand this is the same Jim Ryan who didn't understand why people want to play classic PlayStation games. That aside, his comment on the success of the Switch is a noteworthy one. Quote, when you look at the whole of the industry ecosystem, having a resurgent Nintendo back and playing in a meaningful manner, I hear a lot of what they showed at the E3 was really good. Can only be to hang on, a little wordy here. Can only be to the benefit of the industry and to pretty much everyone in the industry. So we will see. If it means that some of those people, that many millions of people who got into the Wii start to come back, in many cases, they have been absent for a few years. If they come back and they'll go into the store looking for a Switch, I'll have a crack at selling them a PS4. For the most part, this is an accurate observation by Ryan. The Wii destroyed both the PS3 and 360 in the last console generation, and a large proportion of those owners haven't came back into the fold yet. And I'll post the rest of this story in the chat, and basically saying that Sony is saying, or well, at least when it comes to Ryan, saying that it's very good for Nintendo to be, succeeding, because then that would bring more casual people back to the to gaming, and then persuade them to sell a PS4 console, I believe. So, yeah. It's funny thinking about this when I was reading it. The thing about this, it kind of reminds me. So, in essence, the way that Ryan is talking about Nintendo is like saying like, Nintendo is the New York Knicks or the LA Lakers of the game industry. It's good that they're succeeding and that they're doing well, and it brings in a lot more people. People are more interested.
Yeah, well, I mean, this goes to the argument of capitalism in general, of the competition of a market share. You don't want a company to have a monopoly. You don't want one company to be dominating the market, no matter what it is. So yeah, Nintendo succeeding is fantastic. It helps everybody, actually. That little girl who grows up and goes, oh man, Splatoon looks awesome, I want to play that, and then plays that for like a year. Next year goes, I want to graduate to something bigger, and then buys a console, buys a Sony, buys a PlayStation.
Yeah.
That's how they're seeing it, and that's totally correct. Like, I had this. This is not about video games in general. This is more about my personal, should have had a V8 donk moment. Or back in the day when I was that comic book nerd that hated comic movies for not being accurate. There was a show on for kids called Superhero Squad, Marvel Superhero Squad. And it was basically chibi versions of all the superheroes, and I hated it. I said it was the dumbest thing ever, and that kids shouldn't be interested in it. And then someone pointed out to me that show isn't designed to just be an entertaining show for kids. It's designed to get kids into Marvel characters, so that way when they're a bit older, they then pick up the comics. They then enjoy the films. They become Marvel fans because they started off with something dumb when they were kids. And I was like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. Now, of course, there's the argument that an adult could do the same thing. Like, when the Wii was successful, Microsoft and Sony saw a huge spike in their sales too. So yeah, I don't know. I could run circles around this one. There's a lot of evidence for it being good.
Yeah, it's capitalism by its pure definition. Like, when one big company succeeds, you see a big tidal wave of other companies under it succeed as well. If that makes sense. Seeing Nintendo, I mean, like, I think that's it's kind of interesting to see this kind of new generation of people who are running these companies, um, having a more supportive kind of feeling than the last generation of consoles or prior to that. Not recently, I talked about Phil Spencer and how he was saying, like, we're supporting our group, and just focusing on our own product and supporting that. We're not looking at the competition against Sony.
Yeah.
And
which is what what any company should be doing. Like, the competition aspect should be on the back burner.
Yeah, and it's becoming more and more of that recently in this generation.
Unfortunately, that was not the case with the last generation.
No,
it was the last generation. It was direct competition because we saw so many failed concepts just because companies couldn't stop trying to get their hands in each other's pockets.
Yeah, it was still in the mentality of of people, trying to beat the other console, trying to beat the other company for your money. The whole, and going back and forth, that Nintendo can't and Sega don't, like, it's kind of that mentality. Like, it's definitely something where, competition is still really good for the industry, and it pushes other people to get better.
But competition should not be. There's a disclaimer there. There's a very important disclaimer. Competition should only be in regards to gaining sales. When Pokemon Go is successful, so all of a sudden we just start seeing this like huge insurgence of AR-based games. That's not good competition. You're stagnating the market. When Nintendo goes, oh, we have this like pseudo handheld, pseudo home console that like works in all these different directions and things, it's like, no, that's exactly a good thing. Like, they're sticking to their guns. Microsoft and Sony need to compete in not necessarily like making something that Nintendo's doing. They need to make, like, I hate to say it, but they need to make exclusives. They need to start going to companies and getting more games that people want to play that they can only play on the Xbox or only on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
It's I mean, this goes with anything that's capitalist, like cars, for example. Like, you don't want to see like Nissan start trying to copy Toyota. You don't want to see that. And the perfect example is this holiday season, or not holiday season, but this Sony is trying to compete with exclusives. Microsoft is trying to compete with options.
Yeah.
And that's a discernible difference right there. It's important to make the distinction that Microsoft is not trying to tell you that our powerful system is the must-have. We're telling you it's a can-have. But if you have a better PC and you don't want to buy an Xbox, you can just play on the PC. Windows 10. There you go.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. Like, that's fantastic. And Sony goes, that's cool and all, guys. That's great. But just so everyone knows, we do have VR. So it's an affordable price. It works for what it does. And we have a ton of exclusive games coming to our system. Plus, we have a lot of Japanese RPGs that the other guys don't have.
Oh, yeah.
And Nintendo goes, yeah, we're doing our own thing. Entirely, we're doing our own thing. That's the competition I want to see. Like, I don't want to see what we saw a decade ago with, like, oh, the Kinect only exists because of motion controls. Yay!
Yeah, I remember that. I still have my Kinect, actually.
I use a Kinect for streaming for camera purposes, but it was a good device. It just was never utilized right because people didn't care for it. Also, there was that whole thing that came out of, like, it's spying on you.
Yeah. It's definitely becoming a more friendlier environment in this generation than what it was yesteryear, and I think it's a good thing. I think that, while there's still competition, it's healthy competition. Like, like going out there and saying, like, I actually enjoy the fact that Nintendo is succeeding, because in between the lines, like, he's saying that because it's the benefit is for them, but also for Sony. But at the same time, like, it's cool to see people who are more supportive of other companies, who work for other companies, to succeed. rather than like I want them to fail because our company is the best and our our game console is the best and all that stuff.
When your competition in a capitalistic market, when your competition succeeds, you succeed. Period. Hands down. That's how it works. That's how it'll always work.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and to kind of comment on what Jason was saying, uh, instead of always being the most powerful system, they need to make games that are content quality. I do agree with that. I think that that's an important thing. However, in order to keep up with it, with an ever expanding just like visual concept and audio concept, like you have to keep making powerful consoles, and just keep upping that game. So yes, you're not wrong, but at the same time, you do have to keep that in context that they can't get that far behind. They're not going to get that far behind. As for the Kinect, I have nothing against it personally. I think it's a fine device, but it only got into R&D because every system saw, or Sony and Microsoft saw how popular motion control gaming was at that time and tried to jump on that bandwagon, and it flopped. It flopped hard.
Yeah.
It was like jumping off of something to land in the bandwagon and belly flopping on the pavement next to it. It just didn't work.
Yeah. This does bring up an idea though, because for those who might have watched or seen some of the stuff we did last year at our Extra Life event, our 24-hour thing, this does bring me an idea. Like maybe we should bring a Connect thing for this year.
For Extra Life, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we could do something like that. There's plenty of Connect games that are silly.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah. it just when he said that, it's like thinking about it, it's like that actually might be a good idea. Yeah.
Well, the other problem with the Connect, and this has nothing to do with like the competition part. It's literally just it didn't have enough games. Like developers just weren't making anything that people wanted to buy. Just plain and simple.
Yeah. There was that Star Wars game where you get to stomp on stuff. I don't know. Yeah. Ideas indeed. Moving on to our next story, and this is something that, man, when this was it's a little okay. I mean, backstory. This was from GameSpot.com, and it is this entire interview with the people of Capcom making Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. And there's a specific quote in here that has caught a lot of attention. And this was from one Peter Combofino Rosas. Give me a second here as I look for the quote. Hang on a second. Okay, there we go. I believe. Okay. No, wait, no. Hang on. Sorry, guys. I should have done this prior. But okay. But basically, so the entire interview kind of detailed as far as what exactly the game entails, and as far as the process, what about Chun-Li's face or whatnot. One particular statement that was said in this interview regarding characters in the which one did they pick and why did they choose them. And Peter Rosas said this, and the question was, there was recently a leak about the characters, and people picked up on the fact that a lot of classic characters aren't there, specifically the X-Men characters like Magneto and Sentinel. How do you guys feel about people being hung up on that? And his response: if you were to actually think about it, these characters are just functions. They're just doing things. Magneto, case in point, is a favorite because he has an 8-way dash and he's really fast, right? So our more technical players, all they want to do is a triangle jump and that kind of stuff. Well, guess what? Nova can do the same thing. Captain Marvel can do the same thing. Ultron can do the same thing. Go ahead and try them out. It's just a function that people are associating with the character, and there's no shortage of that. We made sure that all proper play styles can be represented with our current roster. The design team has been looking at that very closely. We wanted to make sure that if a legacy character doesn't happen to make the roster this time, that playstyle will be will be represented. That somebody who is associated with Magneto wouldn't be lost coming into this title. And that drove the ire of a lot of people, because essentially what he's saying is that people who play the Marvel vs. Capcom games aren't playing it for the characters. They're playing it because they have a mechanic that they're looking for, and it doesn't matter if the character is, you know, Wolverine or Magneto. It can be some other character, and that's all they need. And you know, I wholly disagree with this idea, because
now why do you disagree? Because I actually agree with it.
So I like to play games with characters that I'm drawn to. For Marvel vs. Capcom, I love Spider-Man. Love him. I played him in Marvel 2, Marvel 3, and I love the character. And after I, you know, play the game for a while, I get to find out, you know, how he works and how he functions. But my love isn't because of how he plays. It's because I love the character. And that's my reason why for playing, you know, Spider-Man. And you know, the reason I disagree with Peter here is because people who play games, people who play fighting games, they may have their own reasons, but I think one of the drawing factor is the fact that, you know, characters to them are they're drawn to specific characters because they may look cool, or they may be a character that they liked in the prior series are back, or it is not because the fact that they do the same, like this character does the same thing as another character in another game. It's more or less that they like the character for who that character may be. Okay. And it's not just for, you know, competitive people. We're almost talking about, you know, casuals as well.
This is the same problem that I have with Overwatch players. Stop getting hung up on the character you like, because I don't care if you like the character. That's nonsense to me. To argue that you play only because there's a character you like is like saying, I would like to watch this thing I hate. I would like to watch the show I hate because I really enjoy the host. I love Family Feud, but I'm not going to watch it because I don't like Steve Harvey. I think that like, but to me, to ignore that it's a show, to me to sit there and go, I'm never watching it because of Steve Harvey, is ridiculous. It's the same analogy. I mean, that's not the best analogy, but the idea here are like, well, I mentioned Overwatch. Hey, does your team need a Mercy? Then get off Zenyatta. I don't care if you like Zenyatta. We need a Mercy. Are you working with Roadhog right now and he's getting destroyed? Pick a diva. Pick Reinhardt, somebody with a shield. Stop being stuck on characters just because you like them. That's a bit of nonsense. Don't get me wrong, Spider-Man's also my favorite Marvel superhero. I love Spider-Man. Stoked about Homecoming. But I wouldn't play Marvel vs. Capcom or not play because he's not there and or doesn't play like he used to. If I'm looking to be competitive in a game, I'm going to play to what works. Not because I like the characters. No one likes MODOK. Well, no one goes, well, that character's really cool looking. No, people go, he's really ugly and a fun villain, and that's about it. And they choose him because he's got some abilities that work.
I agree with you on a competitive level, but I think it, like, even competitively, I think that players that would pick certain characters, like, yes, it is, there's definitely, like, the idea of them figuring out a character can do this and this and this, but I also think, like, it's more about liking the character, and it's more like, you know...
Are you going to pick a more well-rounded team, or are you going to pick a bunch of characters that look cool?
I would say, kind of, you know, a little bit of both.
Don't say both, because that's not how this works. If you play an RPG, Anthony, an RPG, and you have 10 available characters, you're going to pick 4 that work together as a team. You're going to get a healer. You're going to get a guy that hits hard, like a tank, if you will. You're going to get a technical character, and you're going to get a character that probably uses magic. That's the well-roundedness. Now, sure, if you want to sit there and go but let's say you're looking at your magic users, right? And you're like, and there you have 3 magic users, right? And one looks awesome, but he's not as powerful as the other 2. Are you going to drop him in just because he looks cooler? No, that would be dumb. You're asking for problems at that point when you're playing a game.
I mean, you're not wrong. If you like logistically, like, just, it makes total sense if you want to win, pick top tiers. Like, if you're a type of person who, or type of player that wants to win and has no allegiance to no characters, then pick whatever is the best characters in the game and win with that. But for some other people, they will choose characters they like, and not because of gameplay, but just because of the character themselves, and they'll make it work. And they may find things that people may not discover, and obviously there's characters they may like, and it's maybe like a character that's very low tier or not that good, but people still play him. And again, I go back to my example when I played Marvel 3. My characters were Spider-Man, Deadpool, Hawkeye. People at the time when during the time of early Marvel 3, they one of them told me that why pick Deadpool.
Yeah, I heard Deadpool's terrible.
Yeah, like, why pick Deadpool? Just choose Zero. He does everything better. And then I told him, like, I like Deadpool. I like the character. I like these characters, with the exception of Hawkeye. But
I understand that, Anthony. But your willingness to never get better at the game or be better at the game because you're stuck on a character just because you like how they look isn't helping you. That's hindering you at best. And I think that's the point that this guy is making, is that people want to, like, the ire he's getting from the internet is only due to people going, well, I really like this character, and I think it's nonsense that he's not in the game or he doesn't play like he used to, because you guys wanted to make them more. You guys basically made the same game twice, and you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's man, I don't like the idea of people picking characters because they look cool. Guess who else does that? My buddy's 8-year-old son. I think if you're looking to be competitive, Anthony, if you are playing casually, pick who the hell you want.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares who you pick at that point? If I play Skullgirls, I've never played Skullgirls. I don't know how that game plays. I'm probably going to pick the characters that look cool, because I've never played the game. But guess what? If there's a character that just functionally works better with my playstyle, and he doesn't look that cool, or in that case she, but I know that I'm really good with them, and I can actually do some really good, like, competitive stuff with that character, I'm going to pick that character.
Well, I will say, to kind of go again, for my argument again, is the fact that people who choose characters because they like them for whatever reason and play them competitively, they will understand the fact that maybe their character is not as good as another character they can replace with. But those people who do play those characters, they will grind it out, and they will find ways to get wins with those characters, and find every bit of what is good about them, what is bad about them. And you are totally right in the fact that it's more logistical, more a better idea to go get a better character. But for some people like me, who just likes, if a character looks cool, or if it's a character that I liked in comic books or whatnot, I will play that character. And I will, it's basically saying, like, okay, I'm playing this character, and if this character sucks, then that's gonna be on me, and that's fine. But I'm gonna find what strategies or what way I can win with this character, even though there are far better, more characters out there. And
I think at this point, personally, Anthony, and maybe you'll agree with me on this, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite has bigger problems than its roster.
Oh yeah,
Way bigger
yeah,
problems than
it's
its
got
roster.
way much better, bigger problems.
I think complaining to the developers about how characters look, or like, oh, my favorite character's not there, is not doing a thing. Then that's just one angle. That's just one aspect. I think
Yeah.
your Marvel's Capcom Infinite's not going to do well. Straight up, it's not going to do well. Not with other fighting games that are just better coming out.
Dragon Ball Z.
To name one big
Yeah.
one. It's just man, like it's a ridiculous notion to me to completely ignore other characters. Like he said, there are other characters that do very similar things. I noticed this back in the day when I was playing fighting games, like Tekken, for example. Like there's like 4 characters that do the exact same thing. Like they
Yeah.
just function. Like their moveset looks different, but they do the same thing. They hit with the same power, same speed. They just.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Like when I played back in the day, like the Bruce Lee parody character in Street Fighter.
Yeah, Law. Oh, are you talking about for Street Fighter?
Yeah, it was like
Fei Long.
Fei Long. Okay, when Fei Long came out, I noticed that Fei Long fighted very similarly to like Cammy and Chun Li. Very similar.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Well, speed wise.
Wait, oh, okay. I'm about to say. I was like, wait. One of them could do a dive kick and a drill with her legs. The other can do rekkas with his fist, and flames come out of his feet.
Well, there's also the other example of like E Honda and Chun Li. Not the exact same moveset, but they had similar moves.
Yeah, they're both charge characters.
Yeah.
They both have like multi-hitting moves.
Like Chun Li looks a lot cooler than E Honda, but guess what? If E Honda works better, then pick E Honda.
Yeah, one's prettier than the other. I mean,
just saying. It's like, yeah, I mean, casually, yeah, pick Chun Li, pick Cammy because of that butt. I don't care. I don't care why you're picking the character. Just understand that if you're picking characters because they look cool and not because of their functionality, you're probably gonna lose.
Well, we can debate this all night, but I think that we both kind of stand on both sides, or both opposite sides on this one. I mean, if anything on Chun-Li right now, fix her face, please.
But everything in that game looks ugly. Like,
yeah.
Everything in that game is a disaster from tip to top. Like it's bad. Like when I was playing the story demo, like I just looking at all the characters and I'm like, none of these, like, unless they have a full face mask or they're like anime looking, they look awful. Like the human faces look terrible.
Yeah, that game needs some work, and it's coming out in a couple months, so we'll see.
Oh no, they're not fixing that in a couple months.
Yeah, the gameplay here was pretty cool, but yeah, there's a lot of issues in that game. We'll see how it goes. But nonetheless, we're gonna end it on. Hang on a minute, let me put this in. Give me a second here. Alright, so we are going to end it on the one thing that... Let me get this set up. On the one thing that I think Greg would like to do every so often. Let me pause the music here. Alright guys, welcome to... Hang on a second. There we go. Welcome to the Overwatch Minute with Greg Dietz, as he hosts up his Lucio
Funko Pop.
Yeah, Funko Pop.
Isn't he cool?
Yeah, he's pretty
cool.
Isn't
he just the neatest? Yeah, I need to get more Lucio stuff. Lucio's my favorite character. But if we need a Mercy, I pick Mercy.
They're just functions.
So there's been a lot that's happened in the Overwatch world since, a few weeks ago. But we'll get to some of the important things real fast. The most important thing right off the bat is we at the end of the anniversary event, they had a double XP weekend, And I was having some conversation with some friends that play the game, and we were all agreeing that like every event should end with a double XP weekend. Uh, just when you think about it from a certain perspective, that works. Like people just who can't afford or don't have a lot of time to play the game over the time that the event's going on, like to give those people a little bit of an opportunity to get some loot boxes is really cool. Um, let's see what else. That's all conjecture and speculation. Don't need to talk about that. Levers in competitive are getting banned permanently. Not just like the occasional lever or the person whose like connection cuts out. Like consistent levers are getting banned permanently from Overwatch. I think this is a fantastic idea simply because it's nonsense that we have to deal with that. When you're playing a competitive game, it's designed specifically to have the group there the entire time, and you're not supposed to be leaving. You're supposed to be working as a cohesive team, and it doesn't make someone new into the match because it can throw off that entire gel you got going on with that team. So, I think that's a fitting punishment for consistent leavers. We are most likely next month going to be getting a new Summer Games event. I don't know if
that's right. Yes.
Don't know if it'll be Lucio Ball or something new. Maybe a Lucio Ball and something new, but data miners have found like everyone's getting like at least 2 new skins, so that's gonna be fun. There's a new game mode in arcade that's 6v6 elimination instead of 3v3 elimination, so it's interesting. It's kind of tough. It's okay, but it's there. So this is actually a kind of fun story. Jeff Kaplan roasted a guy on the forums. The guy basically asked if the development team ever watch it or ever actually plays Overwatch. Jeff Kaplan responded with, "We all play Overwatch all the time, and by the looks of it, I have 800 more hours in Overwatch than you do." This basically became meme worthy, if you will, and it turned into a situation where Jeff felt bad about it and contacted the guy and offered him a bunch of like loot boxes or something. Like it was basically the guy for being angry at Overwatch and asking a trolly ass question and then getting trolled by Jeff Kaplan got a reward out of it. But that's simply because Jeff Kaplan felt bad about it. So there have been some buffs and some nerfs. So Orisa now does 22% more, or she blocks now 22% more damage. Oh my god, why am I drawing a blank on the characters? Roadhog now has 5 shots with his gun, but he does 33% less damage. So a hook, pull, and shot on somebody with 200 health will not instantly kill them now. Roadhog was always meant to be a tank that basically stands with his team and pulls enemies towards his team for them to kill them. Now that is an absolute thing with him. You have to stay with your team. If Roadhog doesn't, he dies. He's no longer a flanker like people have been using him. So I'm okay with that. Like I hate flanking Roadhog. So and I certainly don't play him that way. But McCree now his ult now locks onto people a lot faster. Like I think it's like a solid 40% faster.
Okay.
And that way, the reason that they did that was because McCree's ult was like it was taking too long and he'd get killed too fast. When his ult is designed to be like a everyone dies right now situation. So I'm okay with that. Like his ult's faster, whatever. I still hear high noon and try to hide. So
of course.
Did see a funny meme where it was like, I play a game like every night where a cowboy yells the time of day and then shoots me in the head.
Yeah.
That was very fun.
Yeah.
If you have Twitch Prime, you can get a golden loot box, which guarantees you a legendary skin.
I saw that. Yeah.
At least, or it should be a legendary skin you don't have. So some people have gotten 2 golden loot boxes because they've gotten a legendary skin they did have. But whatever. But the biggest buff and nerf I should mention was Reaper. So when Reaper would kill somebody, there would be an orb on the ground. He'd pick it up and get health. He with all the other buffs and nerfs and adjustments and shit like that, he had become less and less versatile. So to change him, he now gains 12% health off of all the damage. 12% health off of the damage he does with his gun.
Huh.
So when he's ulting, he's just getting health back as long as he's taking damage. Yeah.
That's a good buff.
Yeah,
it's a really good buff.
Yeah, it's a really, really good buff.
Holy shit.
He is now a tank melter again, which is what he was always designed to do. He's not completely like overpowered too. Like he's easily killable just like everybody else. But now he's a lot more versatile. So that people were upset about that at first, but now they're not because they've played it. Like that's the other thing about buffs and nerfs. Everyone gets mad and then calms down after they release it. But there's the last bit here is there's a PTR update that I think is very important. Basically, there's a lot of bugs being fixed, a lot of patches going through, but the biggest one is that loot boxes will now have...
Oh, I heard about this. Yeah.
Yeah, less duplicates. You will get a lot, like, drastically less duplicates than you used to.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I'm really happy to hear that and see that, because when the new events happen, boy oh boy are we not going to get stiffed.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So the other thing that I wanted to mention that I thought was interesting was Overwatch right now is doing they're setting up for their what do they call it? The World Tournament, World Series.
Oh, their esports thing.
Yeah, their BlizzCon Overwatch thing.
Oh, okay. I don't know what the name of it is, but I'm pretty sure that's because of gearing up for BlizzCon this year. Yeah.
Yeah. They're doing it differently, like because the game had come out and then they only had a few months to get it together. They were just like, you can vote on teams. This time it was like, you can vote on the team captain. And once the team captain's been picked, then the team captain will pick a bunch of members of the team, and then you can vote for like who you think should be in there. And then once they're in there, like you will have a bunch of teams in each country, and those teams will then compete within their country to see who's the best. And then we'll send those guys up, like yada yada yada. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like this is really cool. And they started that back in like February, I think.
Cool.
Like
awesome.
For the whole, they're gonna do a whole year. Some crazy pants. But yeah, I think I'm fairly certain we're getting a new event here soon, and I'm really happy with how Overwatch has been over the last year.
Still going strong. Still going very strong.
Like I haven't played a whole lot of it recently because I've been playing a lot of Friday the 13th. And I mentioned a concern to my friend that when let's break it down. I made a concern to my friend that when Destiny 2 comes out, we'll stop playing Overwatch, and he was like, "Nah, I think we'll still get in there and do the competitive stuff or the events." And I was like, "Good, good. I hope so. I hope so." Oh, and the new map came out out of the PTR, and it's live and it's fun.
All right, awesome. Well, that has been your Overwatch Minute with Greg. Hope you guys enjoyed it. So that's gonna do it for our show. We managed to make it work for this episode. There weren't that many stories to talk about, but we managed to get through it the hour.
I can spout some bullshit opinions. Don't you worry about it.
Yeah, we could talk about whatever, and I just keep going. This penny does not look right. So before we go, Greg, where can they find you on the internet?
Well, you can find me on Twitter, and you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook under Chub Rock Geek. Just search for Chub Rock Geek. You can find me every Saturday on Half Empty Energy Tank. That's twitch.tv/halfemptyetank. You can find my what else was there? There was something else, and I don't know, completely blank. I don't remember where I am anymore. Who are you? What's happening here?
Yeah, you're on the internet somehow. I mean.
I try not to be anymore, but here we are. There's a lot of places. Just search, if you go to Google to search Chub Rock Geek, you'll find a lot of my content. Holy crap, where'd that come from? Sorry. You can find a lot of my content and find a lot of my reviews and past streams and yada, 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 yada.
Yep, indeed. You can follow me on Twitter at DefectiveNaruto. You can follow the work that we do, including this podcast, on our website at missionstartpodcast.com. Also, hit that follow button. I believe it's up here, down here, somewhere around this Twitch channel. Hit that follow button. Yeah, we are very gracious. Also, there we go. So, if you enjoyed this podcast, if you enjoy watching or listening to this podcast, we're on iTunes and Stitcher. So in case you might have missed anything we might have talked about prior, or if you want to catch us, like if you're going to work or you want to hear something on your drive, subscribe to us on iTunes and Stitcher. We're also on our website in the podcast section under missionstartpodcast.com/podcast. If you enjoy us talking about conventions, if you enjoy us interviewing cosplayers, check out the Conover, which is a whenever happened podcast. It's basically a podcast at this point where, like, whenever convention we attend to, we give our full thoughts, our experiences. We are actually recently announced that we are uploading audio versions of interviews and panels and events that we do attend at conventions. So in the case of you don't watch the video, you can actually listen to the audio version on the podcast feed for the Conover. And last but not least, if you enjoy comic books, if you enjoy entertainment, if you enjoy video games, anime, just a little bit of everything, check out the Rolling 20s, hosted by Jeremy Wilson. He is the one who has hosted these Rolling 20s podcasts for a very long time, and he continues to do so. Usually up every Friday. I know this past couple of days, kind of been doing catch up on a few episodes, so you guys have been seeing a bit more new episodes this past weekend. It's gonna be another new one up tomorrow. To catch up. And yeah, it's on iTunes, Stitcher, as well as in the podcast section of our website under the Rolling 20s. And for the 700th time, yes, I'm still working. I'm working a lot of stuff actually on it. But the movie podcast will happen. I will get it up before. I'll make this mandate. I'll get it up before the next one, which is going to be Spider-Man.
I'll keep to it.
So yeah, it'll be up. I guess around July 7th, so that'll be in a week or two, somewhere around that time. But yeah, it'll be up. I know I've been saying it for weeks. I was trying to get it up, but just been working on other stuff or been traveling. But it'll be up, and I'll have it ready, and you'll have a podcast feed and all that good stuff. So anyways, with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.